Hello everybody, welcome back to the e-learning space for MGM Higher Secondary School, Bokaro. This is the first video for Unit 4, Section C from your English course book of Class 8. Unit 4, as already discussed in our previous video lesson, is about the wonder years. What are these wonder years? The period of adolescence or the teenage years, the years of physical, hormonal and mental growth in exponential terms. Our lesson today is titled Just for Fun. And this lesson is a play. What is a play? A play involves dialogues from various characters. The scene is depicted as it would be in a real setup. The story is told through dialogues from the different characters. In this video lesson, we are first going to read the lesson and understand the play. Let us begin. Section C, just for fun. In the very beginning of your lesson, a blank is given, or rather 3 blanks are given. You have to complete this. This is a well-known saying, and dash for an dash will make the dash blind. An eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. What does this famous saying actually says? This means that if we start trying to avenge everything in the same way we were hurt, the entire world will be in jeopardy. The entire world will be in chaos. If people have differences, conflicts, misunderstandings, or some unresolved issues, how should that be sorted out? Should people get all revengeful, trying to avenge the mistakes done to them? Or is there a more peaceful method or more civilized method to sort out your differences? So here is a play about 3 classmates who are upset with another student and they plan to get even with her. Even means they want to settle the scores, they want to teach her a lesson. But is that the right thing to do, or is that the right way to even the scores? Let's find out how the situation was prevented from getting out of hand, means out of control. Who are the characters in the play? We have some students. They are Simran, Avantika, Divya, Sonia and Shashank. And we have 2 teachers, Mrs. Deberoy, who is the drama teacher, and Miss Guha, who is the class teacher. Now a play is divided into scenes. So the scene 1, which begins, is in the school auditorium where Simran, Avantika and Divya, they are rehearsing a skit. A skit is a short drama or a short play which they want to put up on Children's Day. So on the occasion of Children's Day, they're going to present a skit in front of the school. What is the skit about? Mrs. Deveroy, the drama teacher, is helping these girls, and the skit is about some cats. And these cats are not just ordinary cats, these are fashionable cats. And they're conversing amongst themselves. What are they talking about? They're talking about grooming parlors for cats. What are grooming parlors? So just like humans of today have beauty parlors to take care of their health, skin, nails, etc. In the same way, these girls are putting up a small skit where they're trying to show that some fashionable cats are talking about beauty parlors for cats. So here is Mrs. Deveroy's opening dialogue. All right, girls, remember to speak clearly, especially the names. They might be a little difficult for the audience to understand. Divya, start from the line about the bonnet. Divya starts speaking. These are small narrations or descriptions that help the audience understand better what is going on. These brackets are basically for the audience to understand the scene better. What is a bonnet? Bonnet is a kind of headgear. So Mrs. Deveroy begins the scene and she's asking Divya to start rehearsing her lines about the bonnet. So Divya takes the instruction, understands the command, and begins. That's a pretty bonnet you're wearing, but why have you covered up your beautiful curls? She's talking to Simran. And remember, all these girls are actually playing a cat. So Simran says, wait till I take it off. You will know then. Honestly, I imagined I'd get a haircut by those experts as they call themselves. Huh, experts indeed. So here is a fashionable cat who is not happy with the haircut she has received, and hence she is covering up her hair with a cap, a kind of headgear. Avantika, another girl playing the cat, says, but didn't you go to Fanny's fashionable felines? Here is the name of the grooming parlor. What is the name? Fanny's Fashionable Felines. Remember children, felines is another word for the cat family. So here is the name of the parlor and interestingly it is for the cats. Simran says, oh dear no, I wouldn't go there even if I had to go bald. They are terrible. Bald means somebody who has lost his or her hair completely. So here the fashionable cat Simran is saying that no matter what happens to my hair, I'm never going to those fashionable felines they themselves call. So Mrs. Doberoy now says that okay, stop there girls, you all need to say your lines with a little more style, and before she could finish her sentence, another girl Sonia peeps in through the door. Here is a little picture for you children to understand the entire scene. Girls are practicing and Sonia comes into the scene. Sonia says, excuse me ma'am, may I speak to you for a moment please? Mrs. Deveroy says, okay, take a break girls, I'll just see what Sonia wants. Now they both leave the scene but they are still visible to these girls because there's a glass door, a glass window you can say, and the door closes behind, but the girls along with Sonia along with Simran, Avantika and Divya, they can see Sonia talking to Mrs. Deborah. Now these girls started talking amongst themselves. They start talking and conversing, and what are they talking about? The girl Sonia. I wonder what or who she's tattling about to Mrs. Deborah. Now what is the meaning of tattling? Tattling is basically a word used to describe a situation where a person is kind of a complaint box, okay? He or she is always telling on people. Telling on people means he or she is always complaining about the actions done by the others, a kind of secret revealing all the time to the authorities. So basically, Simran, Avantika, and Divya, they're angry with Sonia about something. They have a bone to pick with her. Bone to pick with her means they are not happy with something that she has done. She must have complained about them to somebody. So they are saying, I'd love to get even with her for spilling the beans to Mr. Sinha about me taking those roses from the class 11 exhibition. Now here we know the complete story. Sonia was the person who went to her teacher, Mr. Sinha, and spilled the beans. Spill the beans mean told all the confidential information or revealed the secret that Avantika was the person who took roses from the exhibition that was held for class 11. Hey, I know, why don't we go and tell Mr. Jain that we saw Sonia tearing out pages from the school encyclopedia for a project. So we don't know whether this is true or Avantika is making up a story just to get Sonia into trouble. They want to go to another teacher and complain that Sonia was the person who was tearing out pages from the book that is the property of the school, which is a very, very bad thing to do. Divya says, oh, that will teach her a lesson. So they are making up their mind to get her into trouble. Avantika says, and she will get a good scolding from Mr. Jain. I'd like to see her face then. Ooh, what fun. Let's go. So here are three girls scheming or planning to get another girl, Sonia, into trouble only because she had complained about them. Coming to scene 2, that was all about scene 1, more like an introduction. We know what is going to happen or what the story or the play is preparing us for. Again, within the brackets, there are descriptions for you to understand the scene better. It's a classroom scene where the period is communication and social skills. Basically, it's like a conversation period. Miss Guha is the class teacher and she's marking the attendance, and she can hear that the class is whispering, means they're talking to each other. And Avantika, Divya and Simran, the three girls who were scheming earlier in scene 1, they're giggling. What is giggling? Laughing softly amongst each others. So Miss Guha says, all right, let's play hangman to guess the topic of today's discussion. Hangman is actually a word game where certain letters of the words are given. You have to guess other letters and complete the word. So you must guess the 6 letters that make up this word. Then she draws the image and 6 gaps for the word she gives, and then she asks the students to guess, as you can see in the picture. Divya says, does the word have an A? That's a very smart guessing because mostly all the words have the vowels. So she starts with A. But Miss Guha says, no, it doesn't have a vowel A. Then Shashank, other student we come to know in scene 2, says, does it have an E or an O? And yes, of course it has an O. So she writes it in the correct gap. Now, after looking at the word, Simran says, does the word have a G and a P, ma'am? And Miss Guha says, yes. And after looking at G and P and O, she guesses the word right. Who? Avantika guesses the word right. She says, is it gossip? Miss Guha says, full points to your team, Avantika. Does anyone know the story of the feather pillow? Now let us see what topic Miss Guha is going to begin. As soon as Miss Guha says that she is going to begin the topic, the story of the feather pillow, all the students agree or say in unison. Unison means together that no ma'am, we do not know the story of the feather pillow. So Miss Guha now begins. Well, there was once a wise man whose advice was sought by all. One villager, though, got upset because the wise man gave him some advice that he didn't like. Now, Miss Guha begins by saying that in a village there was a wise man. Wise man means a person who has quite a few experiences and wisdom to share with the others. And he would give advice to everyone. So people would go to him to get advice about some problems or any issues that they have. But there was one particular villager who was not happy because the advice that the wise man had given him did not agree with him. Agree with him means he did not like that advice. So he spread a wicked rumor about the wise man. What is a rumor? Rumor means a false saying, and wicked means a bad, something that is wrong or something that is derogatory to somebody. Eventually, it was discovered that he started the lie. So, although he started the rumor in order to take revenge from the wise man, but later on, everybody found out that it was a lie that this villager who was dissatisfied with the wise man had told about him. The wise man forgave him. That's a wise thing to do. Instead of holding grudge against somebody, it is always wise to forgive people. But to prove a point, he set a task for the man. Of course, he had forgiven him, but he had to teach the villager a lesson to prove his point. And what task did he give the man? Any guesses what the wise man asked him to do? Waits for responses from the student. So this again in the bracket is for you to understand how the scene is progressing. So she asked the students that, do you know what task was given to the villager who spread rumors about the wise man? So Simran guesses and says maybe he told the man to work in his fields for a week or asked him to, she trails off. Trails off means she does not have a proper answer. She is not confident about her answer. So she does not finish it. She is guessing that maybe he was given a task to work in the fields. But Miss Guha continues and says, well, not exactly. He asked the man to get a feather pillow. He took the pillow and carefully opened the stitching on one side. Then what do you think he did with it? Again, she waits for responses. Divya says, he gave the man a feather and asked him to write something with it. That's a very creative imagination over by Divya. She says that maybe he opened the pillow, took out the feather, gave the man a feather and asked him to write with it, like a feather pen. But Miss Guha says, any other guesses? Of course, that is not the right answer. That is why she is willing to have other guesses. Shashank says, ma'am, I think he asked the man to distribute the feathers to everyone in the village. That's another response from another student, Shashank. Miss Guha says he gave the opened pillow to the man and told him to walk as far as he could, scattering the feathers in the wind as he went along. After doing that, he was to come back to the wise man. When he returned, the wise man told him, now go and collect all those feathers and put them back in the pillow. Now, this is a kind of an impossible task. Taking a pillow of feathers and scattering all the feathers inside the pillow throughout the village, then coming back to the wise man and again going back to recollect all those feathers. The wind might have blown those feathers far and wide, who knows? So Simran says, oh, how would he do that? It's not possible. The little child's mind agrees to this improbable task. Miss Guha says, yes, that's how the man must have reacted too. But what do you think he learned from this task? So of course the man would have also reacted the same. It's impossible for me to go around the village and recollect all the feathers. But what do you think is the lesson behind this? Avantika says, the wise man wanted to show that words like feathers spread far and wide and cannot always be taken back. Miss Guha continues and says, yes, you have got the point. Just then there is an announcement on the intercom. Intercom, you all know, the microphone used by the administration in order to send a message to everyone together. So that's the lesson Avantika concludes, and that's the right lesson, that if you spread rumors about somebody, even when you realize your mistake, it's too late because the words have already traveled far and wide. And now cancelling those words or negating those words is not an easy task and almost impossible. So voice on the intercom says, Ms. Guha is requested to meet the parents of Sonia Francis in the meeting room on the ground floor. Ms. Guha says, I'll be back in a few minutes, Shashank. Please handle the class. So probably Shashank is the monitor of the class or the prefect of the class. He is asked to take care of the class, and the class teacher goes downstairs to meet the parents of Sonia Francis. Now let's see what happens next. Again here in the brackets, we are explained that Miss Guha leaves. Meanwhile, Simran, Divya and Avantika, they start whispering. The same three girls who had decided to avenge Sonia. Simran, hey, do you think Sonia's in big trouble now? Divya says, I don't know. Anyway, I'm beginning to think that what we did was not right at all. So after listening to Miss Guha's story, I think the girls are coming to realize that they have done the wrong thing. They have spread a rumor about Sonia that wasn't right. Avantika says, I know, I never thought that it would go this far. And I think Miss Guha told us this story on purpose. She wants to say something to us specially. Avantika is a smart girl. She has guessed the moral of the story, and she now also guesses that probably Miss Guha wanted them to know about this particular moral lesson, and that is why she told her or them this story. Divya says, do you think she knows? Now they're worried that they had spread a rumor about a fellow classmate and their parents have been summoned. Class teacher is talking to her parents. They are worried that they have taken their revenge too far. Simran says, I think we need to speak to Miss Guha. So they are sensible girls. They understand they have done a mistake and they want to talk to their class teacher. Avantika says, oh, here she is. Again, Miss Guha comes back into the classroom. Probably the small meeting is over. And Avantika continues, ma'am, can we talk to you in private for a minute, please? It's important. And Miss Guha, of course, understanding, says, yes, of course, girls. Where would you like to talk, here or in the counseling room? Simran continues, the counseling room, madam. And Miss Guha says, fine. Now we come to know that Miss Guha and the three girls, Avantika, Simran, and Divya, they go to the counseling room. We now come to scene 3. Scene 3 is inside the counseling room. Miss Guha tells, so tell me. Simran says, ma'am, your story made us think about a rumor we spread about Sonia. Avantika says, we are feeling very bad about it. Divya continues, we want to say sorry, but we don't know how. Ms. Guha says that's the right thing to do, girls, and I'm very pleased to know that you have learned a valuable lesson. Don't worry, the matter can be resolved. You only need to sincerely apologize to Sonia. Come on, let's go to the classroom and make amends. They all go back to the class. Make amends means if you have done something wrong, how to rectify it, how to undo the mistake, or how to at least do something in order to compensate the mistake that you have done. So these girls have apologized to their class teacher. They have told them, they have owned up that yes, they have made a mistake and they were the ones who spread rumors about Sonia. So, children, that was all about the play just for fun. So, here were three girls who, just for the sake of it, just for the fun of, getting back at a girl who had complained about them, tried to start a rumor. They thought that this would be enough to teach the girl a lesson. But when Miss Guha, their class teacher, told them a story that involved a condition much like their own, they understood the gravity of their situation. And these smart girls are courageous enough to own up to their class teacher the mistake they have made. And they're also sensible enough to go and say sorry to the girl they have wronged. So you might think, children, that for the fun of it, you might want to do something wrong. But remember, even when it is just for fun, something wrong will always be wrong. Here is the glossary part from your play. Learn this, and that brings us to the end of our lesson. In our next video, we shall discuss about the lesson in greater detail. Go through the lesson, read it, and underline the tough words. Thank you, children. Take care.